Council of Gauteng, I see you. The minister will be coming in any minute from now. The Minister of Employment and Labor, Minister Thulas Nxesi, is coming in. We are welcome to give him a round of applause as he comes in. There's the minister coming in. We have to respect this one. My premier says, Kemureki. We are going to ask all of us to come in and please settle down as we commence the program. If we could all please take our seats. And we want everybody to be seated. This is the day that, if you are in church, they would say, this is the day that the Lord has made. But today we are saying, this is the day that Panyaza Lesufi has been calling for. The 6th of April, 2024 has arrived. And lots of jobs and job opportunities and skills opportunities are being provided today. So we are here today to witness that opportunity. My name is Edward Musuwe. I'm the Director General in the province of Gauteng. I work together with a colleague of mine, whom I'm going to call now, Ms. Onke Mjo, the Acting Director General for the Department of Employment and Labor, who's going to help co-program direct this function. Over to you, DG.
Good morning, Minister, Premiers, emissaries here, all senior government officials, members of the media houses. Most of all, good morning to our learners and our service providers who are our honored guests today. Let me request Minister, Premier, and all the leadership, if we can all stand and begin this day and this moment by singing our national anthem. I do not know if we have a very good voice that can drive us. I'll do my soprano, and that's not going to help. Ngosi sikeleli Afrika maluphakanyisu phondo lwayo izwa imithandazo yethu Ngosi sikeleli la thina lusapho lwakho murena buluka sitshaba sa Yesu ufedise dingthwani matswe nyeho awsibuluke sibuluke sitshaba sa Yesu sitshaba sa South Africa, South Africa. 8 diploms van onze mel de diepte van onze forever gebergte van die kranse antwoord geef. sounds the call to come together, and united we shall stand. Let us strive for freedom in South Africa, our land. Manixolise ke apho bekufanele bekumele sayingena ke kanjalo asibulele ke asibulele. Thank you so much. And let me begin, Minister, by apologies and to this audience today. The Premier is with us. However, the Premier will need to leave as soon as he finishes his address, as he has another program. It is not out of disrespecting this occasion and this important event. It's such that there are many events as the head of this province that he would need to do. Without wasting any time, today is one of the most important days in the history of our country when we launch such a massified program, a big program that will take beneficiaries of 700,000 and more beneficiaries in a program intended to skill young people and upskill adults that are out of work. A program that seeks to provide opportunities and placement opportunities of the much needed work in South Africa. We start this day, therefore, with the welcome from our MEC, MEC Lebohang Maile, the MEC of Infrastructure and Human Settlements in Gauteng. Thank you, MEC.
Ayiwani ngachwabi kahle. How? It's rare ukuchwabela izandla. In the job that I do, everyone wants a house, and I'm not able to give them houses, so it's rare. Thank you very much, Program Director. I'm not going to, because when you look at the program, I'm expected to say something before the Minister. And because it was explained that the Premier is in a hurry, he's got a flight to catch, he's actually late. We want him to make his remarks, and then I'll say something before the Minister. Program Director, if it's fine by you, Director General. But I want to firstly acknowledge the presence of the Premier of our province, Mr. Panyaza and Rek Lesufi, and then acknowledge the presence of the Minister for Employment and Labour, Ndade Thulas Ngesi, the Deputy Minister, Mebutumelo Muloi, and then acknowledge my colleagues in the Executive Council. We've got MEC for Health, Me Nomantu Ralihoku, she's seated here. MEC, you can wave. And then have MEC for e-government, and I'll explain later the role that the e-government has played in this process in helping us to connect with the national process. He's responsible for corporate governance and e-government, and Dade Elias Kumalo. And then we've got the MEC responsible for sport, art, culture, and recreation, Memorakani Musupye. And then we've got heads of departments that are here. and then our Director General, the Director General of Employment and Labor, and then the Commissioner as well of Labor, of UIF, not Labor. So, Premier, I want to suggest that you address us, Program Director, if you allow. Then I'll say something, because Premier would have spoken on behalf of all of us. So in the program, they want me to give a message of support. So I'll just say, I support the program. Then the minister will come. So Premier, the stage is yours.
See, Pispan. See, Pispan. Oi, oi. Thank you so much, Program Director. I want to start by acknowledging the Minister responsible for Employment and Labor, Minister Thula Singesi. Thank you so much, Minister. I always narrate this story about the Minister, that when I was a student leader, he was my teacher at one school in Tembisa. And because he was a very progressive teacher, the police regime at that time arrested him. I led a student march to the police station to demand his release from prison. They released him and arrested me in return. So he owes me a lot. This is part payment of what he owes me. Thank you so much, Minister. I also want to thank the Deputy Minister, Mebu Tumelo Moloi. Marona ke a leboga kere. Ke a leboga. I really appreciate that. I want to thank all the MECs that are here. Finally, it's here. It's here. We can touch it. We can feel it. It's here. Thank you so much. Thank the DG and the HODs that are here. We really appreciate your presence and your support. I want to thank the Commissioner of UIF. I hope my sins are cleaned. I know we pushed you too much. But that's how we roll in Gauteng. That's how we roll. So thank you so much, Commissioner. We really, really, really want to thank you, Ntate Tebogo Maruping, for the support that you have. I want to acknowledge as well all the service providers that are here and the learners that are here. We didn't choose the 6th of April for nothing. The 6th of April is a historic day in our country. It was on this day, on the 6th of April, 1959 first, that one person that we adore broke away from the African National Congress and established a movement called the PAC. It was on the 6th of April when Robert Sobukwe publicly made that pronouncement, on the 6th of April, 1959. But it was on the 6th of April when majority of us and those that felt that this apartheid regime is heartless, when a young man by the name of Solomon Mahlangu was sent to the gallows to be hanged for our freedom. And today, we are symbolically using that sacrifice to say the pain of those that are unemployed, the pain of those that have been frustrated, living out of handouts, is coming to an end on this particular day, the 6th of April. That the sacrifices of those that made it possible for us to be free can be extended to those that are going through difficulties. So it's when, on the 16th of June, that we advertised close to 13,000 posts, vacant posts, as this provincial government. Last year, on the 16th of June, we deposited a name that no one thought it would be a permanent vocabulary in the history of our country, the name Nasi Sipane. If you Google that name, you will see that since the 16th of May, that name Nasi Sipane has been Googled close to 16.9 million times. Being a relationship that we have established with those that are unemployed. The government that one has the honor to lead since that time, every month from the 16th of June to date, every month without failure, we've been advertising close to 6,000 jobs. We are proud that where we stand today, we can fill FNB Stadium with people that we've employed as the Gauteng government alone in the last 18 months. A commitment that we gave ourselves and a commitment that will take a better shape today. So today, out of those 13,000 posts that were advertised on the 16th of June, hear this, Minister, we advertised 13,000 jobs. We received 1.6 million applications. Actually, there's one post I always make a reference to of a receptionist. One post of a receptionist, we received close to 45,000 applications. And I said to the team, the cost of shortlisting will be more than the salary of that post. And we took a decision as the Gauteng government that out of the 1.6 people that have applied for 13,000 posts, those that were not successful, we are not going to write regret letters to them. That we as government must find mechanisms and systems of absorbing them. That we can't have close to 1.3 million people or 1.6 million people and say, you are a failure, you didn't succeed. We went on an overdrive to find opportunities. Last week, MEC took almost 1,200 and is training them to manage disasters in our province. MEC Musubze took almost others there. So we've been pulling out, but the numbers are stubborn. They are remaining firm. We have so many other programs that we're pulling them to be civic educators. I think MEC for eGov took almost 1,000 for civic educators. MEC Mbali took 6,000 to be green, to clean our streets. MEC responsible for community safety took almost 3,000 to be wardens. But the numbers are there, are stubborn. And these are not numbers. These are human beings. And I'm proud today, we are not taking 100,000. We are not taking 200,000. We are not taking 300,000. We are not taking 400,000. We are taking almost 500,000 unemployed people out of poverty and placing them on the path of human development. You'll forgive me, Minister. I know it's through you. You'll forgive me, Minister. Today, what we are doing, we are going to be one province that will tell our President, thank you so much for your 350 SDG grant. We are taking 400,000 from that grant and we're giving a better life for the next 12 months to 36 months. That's the commitment that we are putting up today. And the method is very simple. If you want to be a plumber, this collective says, you can go and be a plumber. We will train you to be a plumber. If it's for 12 months, 18 months, or whatever, we will train you as a plumber, pay for your training fees. But what is very important, while you are training, we are giving you a stipend, average maybe 3,500 until you qualify. And when we come back, we'll tell you where we are going to deploy you for a permanent job or an employment that will assist us in our province. Minister, it has never happened in this world. I asked my team, check the Guinness Book of Records. 500,000 people at once removed from a database and placed on a path of development in our country. But I must emphasize this, and I'm sorry, Minister, you are a national minister. I'm the Premier of Gauteng. These benefits are for the people of Gauteng and Gauteng alone. Minister is coming to other provinces. We are launching here. So I'm not closing anyone out. So because we are starting, we are not inviting everyone from other provinces. Minister is coming to our provinces. But next week, we're inviting everyone that is from province. We are giving you from tomorrow until Friday. Clean your documents. But the good thing about this program is that we don't need your age. We don't need your age. Whether you are 35 or above 35, this is your program. Zwagala, we are looking for you. Whether you have passed matric or not passed matric, you left school when there were chalkboards, or come, this program is for you. Whether you feel that we are ready to really go to a program that is for 3 years or for 2 years, Zwagala, this program is for you. So we are looking for anyone that is unemployed that wants to re-establish their lives. We are looking for everyone that was frustrated. We are looking for everyone that was thinking that this freedom was meaningless to them. We are looking for somebody that you thought that this country and this government has abandoned you. We are awakening you. On the 13th and the 14th, next week Saturday and next week Sunday, we are opening all our schools in Gauteng. Come and enroll. And by the end of this particular month, on the 1st and beyond the 1st of May, we will start to send you communique to say you are successful and you are not successful, or where are you placed in our province. So next week, Saturday and Sunday, kuzoba busy, kuzoba shushu ezikolweni zethu. So on the 13th and the 14th, that is Saturday and Sunday, everyone that is unemployed in Gauteng, go to a nearest school or community hall. We will issue the details where we need to register you. But what is good with this program is that the 1.6 million that advertised for our jobs and they were unsuccessful, you don't have to go and re-register again. We have your database. And 55,000 of those that are in that database already qualifies through our screening. And on the 1st of May, we are taking you to Dobsonville Stadium. We will give you your appointment letter on the 1st of May and be new workers that we are welcoming in our. So we're bringing new workers, Minister English. Yeah, we said to COSATU, here you are new. Whether you are recruiting or not is up to you. But here are your new workers, 55,000 of them. But beyond that, we want anyone that can be online. We want anyone that can connect, that they must use this link. ESSA, that is ESSA.labor.gov.za. ESSA, ESSA.labor.gov.za. It's going live immediately after this announcement. You can start to register your details there. But on the 13th and 14th, you go to our nearest schools. From tomorrow, all our MECs, all our members of parliament will be visiting communities to assist people to get ready so that on the 13th and the 14th, we can be in a position to register everyone. But this was not going to be possible if it was not the person that I sacrificed my youth for him to be released from prison. Minister English, thank you so much, Minister. Thank you so much. Because people don't understand how these things work. Already, we're being accused that this is electioneering. You can't get 8.2 billion overnight. It takes months, it takes times, it takes resources. And the mere fact that we are at this stage, we can't be blamed for that. So, Minister, I don't even mind even I'm accused for electioneering. It sounds better than be accused for sleeping and snoring in the office. I'm not snoring. So we are working here now to ensure that we give opportunities to our people. That's the only thing that we have. And we are not starting here because the elections is next month. We've done there with 16,000 wardens. People didn't believe it. We've done with so many young people. As I said, almost 96,000 young people have got opportunities through us in the last 18 months. So we'll continue on this path. So I want to thank Minister This program here in Gauteng alone is costing us almost 8.2 billion rand. But Minister will give you details in terms of the national cost. And Minister, indeed, Umureki, we want to thank you. Thank you, Mureki. Thank you, Mureki. 8.2 billion rand that we are giving it back to the hands of the people that are unemployed. This is not a silver bullet to the unemployment list. The unemployment rate in our province is still too high. But to remove 500,000 from that list, it's a massive impact. It has never happened and no one can. But the problem is every political party fight on the ticket of unemployment. But if somebody does something about unemployment, they complain. Which simply means unemployment should only be resolved by them only. And if it must be resolved by them only, it means they're opportunistic. Because you should embrace everything that is removing unemployment. There's one organization that they can create one job in every family. 500,000. We've created more jobs or more opportunities than one family. And we are quite excited as a province that we are starting this process. So we are calling all on the recipient of this program. This is for you. This comes from the government that cares. This comes from the government that have demonstrated its willingness to crush unemployment. As I said, this is not a silver bullet, but it's an opportunity. For a change, the people that are unemployed, they're not going to wait for a gogo coming from a social grant and from the month of social grant take something to buy Vaseline or Colgate. They will buy Vaseline and Colgate on their own for the very first time. They will take care of their own children for the very first time. Like any other person, they can also visit other restaurants for buying food for their first time on their own. So we are ready to welcome them. We know it might be more than 500,000 that we have targeted. We know it might be more than the number that we have, but as long as Mureki is still around, we'll go back to Mureki and ask Mureki if you can add additional funds on this thing. So the process is starting on the 13th and the 14th. So everyone that is listening to us or watching us, on the 13th and the 14th, go to a nearest school and go there and register. We are deploying all our resources and our people to assist you, but those that can register online, they can use the esap.labour.gov.za. But on the 12th, we're in Tembisa as well to do a mass activation there so that everyone can be activated and they will understand. So young people or older people, prepare your documents. Prepare your documents, but we want you mainly with the South African ID document because this is for South Africans and this is for the people of Gauteng. So that's what we want to emphasize and we want to deal with these things. See, Pispan. Thank you so much for your attention. Truly appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Premier, for explaining the work of the provincial government, and thank you for continuing to push us. So this program that we are launching today, as part of the NASISPANI program, was made possible because there's a gentleman called whose title is Commissioner of the UIF. If it were not the Commissioner of the UIF, allowing himself to be directed generally by the Directors General. The two Directors General directed him generally, and together with his team, they have really come to the party. The Labor Activation Program, I'm told, is a program that enhances employability. It is a program that enables entrepreneurship. It is a program that helps to preserve jobs. But more importantly, it's a program that has allowed us to collaborate. And you can see both the provincial government and national government today coming together and say we are collaborating and working for the common purpose and common good. I want at this point to call upon Mr. Teboho Maruping, our UIF commissioner, to set out in more detail this program that we are launching. Ladies and gentlemen, if you give a round of applause to this man, we are likely to get even more jobs than we have been able to do.
I think you understand that I was directed generally by the two Director Generals. Does it show where the technocrats, colleagues? I'm going to be talking about job creation, but job creation in the scheme of UIF. Where does UIF feature into this? Oh, there we are. It's the TV cameras that are making me nervous. I must relax, ne? Thank you. Okay, I'm pulling myself together. I'm together now. Okay, we are calling this, is a 2 million beneficiaries training for employment and entrepreneurship. But why is UIF in the scheme of things of this program, really? Why UIF and not other institutions? The issue is UIF has been created solely for the employers and the employees. It is the UIF, is the funds of the employees and the employers that created this fund and builds it. But in this bigger scheme of things, UIF does one simple thing. We collect funds from contributors, so we are self-funded. With these funds, when people lose their job, we pay their beneficiary. We pay unemployment benefits, we pay maternity, you name it, the number of benefits that you pay. After we've paid those, the difference between what we've received and what we've paid to beneficiaries, that's what remains. But now here's a challenge. In the past 3 to 4 years, we've seen an increase in the number of people who are applying for unemployment. Usually, on average, we'd be processing between 500,000 and 700,000 unemployment benefits. But now it has increased and is going over 1 million. And for the minister, when he met the president said, but minister, I've given you a task to coordinate employment initiative in the country to ensure that you reduce unemployment in the country. And as the DG was saying, then I was directed generally. And when we were directed generally, of course, after the Director General was directed ministerially by the ministers, we found ourselves in the situation. But the situation in the country, this is how it looks like currently. We have 7.9 people who are unemployed in the country. But 86% of that pool is young people. And if we're sitting here in this room, those young people is your sister, it's your cousin, it's my brother, it's your brother. And it's your brother that when you go home, you look at them. Have you ever had that feeling when you arrive home on weekends and every one person expects you to be coming with a bag of money? You must give 10 rands, 20 rands there. As the Premier was saying earlier on, some people are not even able to go to a restaurant. They're not even able to go and buy themselves Colgate. Simple thing like a Colgate. In simple case, that are not able to buy themselves that. It's because of this 86%. We call it a ticking time bomb. And in our world, we are not waiting for this time bomb to explode because we can do something. But I want to give you this picture. If anything that you must remember today, this is what labor activation is about. What you see in this picture, we have people that are unemployed. It might look busy. Let me see if I can point. Can you see the pointer? No. We have people that are unemployed. We've paid beneficiaries a lot of money, between 15 and 17 billion rands per annum that we pay to people who've lost their jobs. we have, and this is the intervention that we are busy with now. Then we have people who are at risk of losing employment, and this is where we use a job preservation mechanism to try and preserve those jobs. But we have people who had just lost their jobs. Now, if you look at that factory, we're looking at a transforming engine. In this transforming engine, this is where we transform people who may have lost jobs, people who are at risk of losing their jobs, or people who have just lost their jobs. And we want to transform them into entrepreneurs or into an employer or an employee. It's two things that we want out of the service providers. We want the service providers that we've brought here on board, that they are showcasing their offering at the back. They must produce two simple things, an employer or an employee. If you produce an employer, this person has an opportunity to employ other people. And they can employ 1, 2, or 3 people. The Premier made an example of a plumber. How many times have you had your issues at home of plumbing? And someone can come in your house and fix it. But sometimes you want to build a back room in your home. Simple thing, not anything complicated. You want to build a back room in the home, but you want to link the back room with the water supply from the house. It doesn't take a complicated plumbing work, but if you train that person with a simple certificate, you'll be able to connect the house with the plumbing in the house. And that's what we're trying to build with the entrepreneurship mechanism that we're bringing on board with the providers. But that same room, you want to connect it to electricity. I did a wireman certificate when I finished matric, before I went to university. 15 days at Chamdo. 15 days. But with that 15 days, I'm able to connect the room to the main house with electricity. And sometimes that's what it takes to transform someone's life, that they're able to connect your room and give it electricity. They can connect that room and give it water supply. They can roof that house. They can put the walls. They can put the foundation. And that's what the training that we are bringing provides. Now you'll have employability, entrepreneurship, upskilling. But what is key is once these people have this opportunity, the simplicity now is they'll be able to contribute towards tax. They can contribute towards increasing revenue of UIF. Because once you are employed or you are an employee, you contribute to UIF every month with your UIF deduction, which results in the sustainability of UIF. And when UIF is sustainable, like now, we spent 65 billion rands during COVID. But because in that time we preserved jobs, those people were able to contribute back into the economy, but back to UIF. And when they contribute back into UIF recovered. And now that's why we are able to contribute to this big project that the minister is announcing today. It's because of those contributions that kept flowing in, because we preserved jobs, because we created more jobs as a result. Now, once these people have received these jobs, the quality of their family life changes. For some of us, it might seem small that you have a plate to eat at night. But for others, they have to go to the neighbor to borrow to borrow 1 onion, just to request half a glass of fish oil, to borrow 2 tomatoes, just for the family to have ishebo and a papa to eat. And that's all it takes for some people to survive. And what we are doing with this program, labor activation, is to lift people out of poverty and improve their quality of life. The other thing that we might take very light is the dignity of people. When someone is unemployed, their dignity is gone. I can imagine the head of the family every day looks at you and, and you know that your father was working for construction. And all he needs is one simple skill, entrepreneurship, to teach him how to run his own business and help the neighbor. A simple thing, just help the neighbor. Room. And that's all it takes. And that's the basics that with this program, we want to lift people one person at a time. This might look big. Yes, it is big. But if you talk to the minister and the DG, you compare the over 700,000 opportunities we're bringing in against the 7 million people who are unemployed. It's just a touch into that, yes, let's bring something to that. Now, the minister said to us as EXCO that UIF, as people who've been tasked with returning people back into employment, because this is in our scope of work as a fund. Section 5D does indicate that UIF will contribute towards taking people back into employment or keeping them into employment. And the minister was saying, Commissioner, this is your mandate. Now, as UIF, how can you help the country to contribute towards this unemployment agenda? And we took the work to the actuaries, and the actuaries said, Commissioner, we can make available 15 billion rands towards this program. But we were directed by the leadership of the minister. Okay, this is why we clap hands, of course. The minister will unpack it further in his speech, but I just want to take you then to Gauteng quickly. Did we just freeze now? I wanted to show you the Gauteng picture. Gauteng takes the bulk of the program. We have about 23 billion rands worth of project, 333 in total, over 700,000 people that will be taken through. But the reason why Gauteng will take a bulk is because of the economic activity in the province and other provinces being labor sending into the province, and then followed by KZN and Western Cape, because all the three provinces are labor sending into the province. People leave their homes to come here, which already tells you that when we break down our programs, we're also having programs in other provinces as well, because we want people to go back home and build their homes and build their economies in their provinces. And that's the drive. This mouse is doing funny things here. I must buy a new one. Eh? Yes. So in total, what I wanted to lift up as well in Gauteng is the fact that Gauteng has about 22 sectors that we'll be focusing on in terms of job opportunities. The 22 sectors, they range from agriculture to ICT to security to call center. And the number of opportunities vary per sector. I mean, just one case in point that we have, one of the service providers on the floor, they've committed to 15,000 job opportunities for call center agents. Now, that's the extent that these people that you are going to be talking to today have committed to these employment opportunities. 15,000 once off. They're saying this is what we are bringing on board. But we're not just bringing 15,000 job opportunities, but in that 15,000, we are also bringing our skin in the game. A bit of their funds they are pumping into the program. Le mouse is behaving. It's not behaving, but that's okay. But if anything you must remember is this slide. Year one, our target is 360,000. And just to clarify the media, 360,000, that's our year one target. Now, if 360,000 is our year one target, when are we supposed to start with the project? Exactly. We cannot start in June or in April or in September. We need to be starting now with the programs. But in order for you to start, I think the minister will also touch on it because he hammered us very hard. And he said, guys, you need to improve your control environment. You need to make sure that the control environment is tight. You need to clean up your governance. You also need to make sure that you have funds. You have set up proper structures to make sure that when you go live with these projects, you are ready to go live. And that's why we delayed. If you think that we are starting now, we should have started about 6 months ago or even earlier. But because the minister was concerned about control environment and the risk that we're exposed to, and he said, no, guys, wait. Pause the project, make sure that you close all the control gaps, make sure that all the control issues are cleared, that there's no comebacks in what you are doing, let it be clear. And that's why we are starting now, because we have to clean up control environment, we have to clean up the risk. We also have to bring in project management functionality in the environment to make sure that when you go, we are actually going, we are not coming back. And that's why today we are here, because this day, we started on Thursday, when the minister launched, that from this day onwards, we are moving forward, not backwards. And on that note, I hope you are clear what labor activation is about, despite my computer not behaving. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Commissioner. I think one of the most important things, Commissioner, that you mentioned is the context of the numbers that the Department of Employment and Labor is driving towards. The target is actually 2 million. The Department of Employment and Labor, through its coordination function of employment and labor in South Africa, must make sure that 2 million jobs are actually created. The 2 million jobs are created through different platforms. This labor activation program is but one of the platforms. This labor activation program that would be having 700,000 recipients of the program is but one of the programs. We've got the Presidential Employment Stimulus, which is going to provide employment opportunities for 1 million beneficiaries. This labor activation program funding is contributing 4 billion rands, 4 billion rands to the Presidential Employment Stimulus, which is going to be providing the employment opportunities for assistant teachers. So in this province of Gauteng, there are assistant teachers. This program has been, so if you look at the number that the Premier gives of 500,000, it is plus the number of assistant teachers for Gauteng that will be there. So that becomes more than 500,000. So we ought to understand the context of the number of opportunities that are being put in place. And this work is actually done across government, across the private sector. These initiatives of making sure that we change the picture in South Africa is done across. So the work that's happening here today and that which we're launching today is but a portion of what globally in the country we should be having. 2 million opportunities, and of course, 2 million is a target, and we know it could be more opportunities. On that note, let me request our service providers that are here today, from Blue Train to Sadiko, all of the leadership of the service providers, to the College of Accountants, everybody, I would like them to come forward. All of them. There is something that we are doing which is very significant. This work that we're doing, which is very significant to the country, ought to have commitment, by all involved, so that in the work that they do, come forward, all of you, and you will introduce yourself and you would say which organization you're coming from before we read the pledge.
Wow. Okay.
The pledge of commitment as service providers for us to deliver on the work that we've undertaken and the work that we are undertaking to do, to alleviate poverty, unemployment in South Africa. You are amongst this 55 of you. I mean, there is a 10 of you, but you are amongst 333 across the country that will make this pledge. I'm going to request that you introduce yourself and you go back to the line which institution you come from, because only one of you is going to be reading the pledge from here Do we have the pledge, Albertina? Trevor? So we're going to do that, and then because I think we do not have 10 microphones. Oh, you did? Okay. To pass it on. Okay. Thanks, DG. Thanks, DG. So if we can do introductions, say the name of the institution we're coming from, and as well as the program that we're going to be running in that order. And then after that, we will take our pledge. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning. My name is Preeti Washeng. I'm from Food and Beverages Manufacturing SETA. We're one of the 21 SETAs that are in the country. And with my team, there's a stand there. I want you to go and see what we offer as the SETA. And there are a number of projects or programs that we do, from learnership and artisan program, and that's why we are here.
Good morning. My name is Sinayem Kiti, also coming from the Food Bev SETA. I won't repeat what my colleague has already said, but that's what we are going to commit as a SETA. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Khanya Ramushava Benkele, and I am here with my colleague, Mr. Ramushava. We are a skills development provider currently running a learnership program for plumbing. And yes, we have a trade test center, we run learnerships, we have apprenticeships and skills programs as well. Thank you.
Good morning, my name is Michael Mann. I'm from BPO Skills Academy. Our key focus in this project is going to be generation of jobs in the contact center, BPO space, and wholesale and retail industry. And we're looking forward to about 9,500 young people joining our programs.
Hi, good morning. My name is Bonelo Mbata. I am from PetroConnect. We specialize mainly in the fuel retail sector. So we train people that want to run petrol stations, but also train petrol attendants and cashiers. And all the good service that you see when you come to a petrol station is because those people have been trained by PetroConnect.
Good morning. My name is Trevor Mwale from the College of Chartered Accountants. We nurture business leaders through our Chartered Accountancy programs, but we also nurture business owners through our entrepreneurship skills training and mentorship programs. We have run several entrepreneurship mentorship programs funded by our primary SETA across the country, and we're looking forward to taking on an additional 675 young people to start businesses across 10 different sectors that we've identified that require minimal capital and are easy to implement. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Mbali Majola, representing Kanyisagava Trading. We're a skills development entity that will be providing job opportunities as well as skills development opportunities within the construction sector. Our catalytic construction program seeks to assist matching potential beneficiaries with the opportunities that are available within this province and also outside. Thank you so much. We'll be providing 8,000 jobs.
Good morning. My name is Tobile Tsele from VB Tsele and Associates. We are an accredited training provider. Across the SETAs, we've got a number of accreditations. We offer learnership skills programs. Above all, we mentor entrepreneurs. For every learner that we train, we make sure that they can start their own businesses. For every training that is funded by the government, we provide 5 more jobs that was not through training. So we pride ourselves in entrepreneurship training. We are going to be offering agriculture. We train farmers in castor beans. We've got already agreements for the buyers to buy the castor that the learners are going to be producing. We offer furniture. We offer clothing and manufacturing. So we are excited to be here. We are pledging 7,500 jobs. Thank you.
Good morning, Linda Kumalo of the Pagania. We are SADICO, South African Digital Content Organization. We specialize in recruiting unemployed individuals from the age of 18 to 50. We train them in digital technology, covering from telecommunications, IT, broadcasting, internet, fourth industrial revolution, you name it, we do it, artificial intelligence and everything. We do theory and we do practicals, and we form people into cooperatives, and we give them tools and skills so that they can implement. We also guide them for 5 years, so we don't do a once-off, and work them to make sure the sustainability. And with those cooperatives and businesses in a project called TechBozy, which is the commercial wing of our organization. Our plan and our vision is for them to compete, Nabo my friend, so that the 4IR journey is done by our own people and they can create jobs. We're taking 4,000, unfortunately they're national, only 2,000 in Gauteng, the rest are in the rest of the country. I thank you, Mapagani Amash.
Hi, I'm Chad Lahood from the Blue Train Group. I'm the CEO. We have pledged to take on 15,000 learners and staff going forward in the call center space, as well as field sales sectors. We run nationally, but a big majority are coming from the Gauteng base.
Good morning. My name is Tebogo Makatu. I come from a company called Net Campus. We do high-end ICT skills for both employed and unemployed people. For this labor activation program, we're going to be training 4,000 young people. And I think we are also repositioning people that have lost their jobs for new technologies such as artificial intelligence, business analysis, data science, cloud technology, and so on. We are accredited with the global vendors such as Microsoft, Huawei, Oracle, and so on and so on. So we're very close to channel partners, and we're very close to where technology is going and where the jobs are. So we're very happy to be entrusted with the job to put those people into jobs. But I'm also grateful that we give them laptops. It really, really does make a difference in terms of them getting into jobs, because employers don't think twice. They just put them into a desk and they start working. Thank you very much.
Morning, everyone. My name is Sipokazi Kwamanda, representing Rote Planscapers. We are in the AgriSeta space, and we offer skills development for youth, specifically nationally. And we're currently actually offering a learnership to 1,500 learners, taking them through landscaping, plant production, and putting together an exit program that will see those learners starting their own cooperatives, being self-employed, and others being absorbed. We've actually identified five employers that will absorb those that want to be employed. And as part of our exit strategy, we're obviously putting in place further skills transfer to then ensure that if they want to start their own businesses or they want to create their own cooperatives, they're better placed to execute as such. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Votomi. I represent Sadiko with my Bakania colleague. Sadiko trains youth to skills development, such as he mentioned, such as cell phone repair, when he mentioned that we are competing with my friend, because most of the time our cell phones are being repaired by my friend. So now we are training our own to be able to fix cell phones, and while training them, they also be able to fix those cell phones and make money and bring money into their cooperatives and employ other people and create jobs in their own communities. Thank you. And we pledged 2,000 in Gauteng and 4,000 in the rest of South Africa. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Gerard Francis. I'm from the ETDP SETA and I'm the Gauteng Provincial Manager. In terms of the ETDP SETA, we have the TVET workplace experience, 208 students that we put in for 18 months at 3,500 Rand a month for them to get their diploma at the end of the day. We've done teaching practice for 100 students with the University of Pretoria and Wits University. We've also done 200 skills programs for the unemployed, and ma'am, we have given them a laptop and have given them data so that they can be self-employed if they can't get employment. Because we know that major employment is not going to happen now. We really need to create that opportunities for young people. In terms of internships, we've in Gauteng put in 121 interns in various host employers where we look to our partners to work with to place them so they can learn their trade in terms of the qualification that they have. And in terms of bursaries, we also gave 140 bursaries to people who applied to us to go and study from Gauteng so that they can get a qualification, because we know that there's very scarce jobs now and there's no jobs out there, so we can give them an opportunity to be qualified. And we gave them an opportunity to do their honors and masters also, so they can be more qualified to be able to get a job and more employable. And the last thing that we've done is the renewal of bursaries to take a person throughout their studies and not leave them in the first year. So if you've got a 4-year qualification, we fund you throughout the 4-year in terms of a laptop, tuition, books, accommodation, and allowances, so that you are well looked after throughout your training career. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. You've got the pledge here on the screen, and you will go through the pledge. She's going to, using the mic, and using the mic that side, you're also going to go through and read the pledge.
Okay.
You can start. On your marks.
Okay.
Get set.
Go.
Go.
We, the partners to the Nasi-Spani project, consisting of government departments, national, provincial, and entities, service providers, and private businesses, pledge to 1. Fulfill all commitments made in terms of funding obligation undertaken, training to be demand-led, resulting in employment and or entrepreneurial opportunities, and creation of jobs and business support and opportunities, targets as agreed in terms of total numbers, as well as proportions according to specified groups, in particular youth, women, and people with disabilities. Ensure the integrity of projects by adhering to standards, operating procedures, and financial controls, cooperating with monitoring and evaluation mechanisms, providing feedback and regular reports as required. This we pledge in order to achieve the targets set by the project in relation to our vision of mitigating unemployment, supporting unemployed people. In Gauteng.
In Gauteng.
Thank you very much. You may take leave. These are the prospective skills trainers, prospective employers. So the problem of jobs and skills in Gauteng and in the country is getting addressed through their initiative. Another round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to this group of service providers. As we move along, we are going to call on the MEC for Infrastructure and Human Settlement in Gauteng, but who also convenes all of us as part of the Nasi-Spani program on behalf of the Executive Council of Gauteng, MEC Lebohang Maile.
Thank you very much, Co-Program Director, Director General. I had already acknowledged the Minister, Deputy Minister, and other colleagues who are here. Minister, I'm not going to give a speech because government is notorious for having long programs, lots of speeches and all that. I don't think it's time for that. But it's important to just emphasize few things that the Premier spoke about earlier on. And one of them is that when we started last year on the 16th of June with NAS Ispani program, we ended up with 1.5 million applications. And when we agreed to collaborate with the Department of Employment and Labor, one of the first things we did was to exchange notes, because the system that the Premier spoke about, called ISA, is one of the very revolutionary tools that is at the disposal of government, and I don't think we have used it optimally. So that system was then compared to the system that we had developed through the Department of E-Government in the province. That system has got database of all the unemployed people, of course, those who have registered in the country. And through that system, we were able to detect that at least 70% of people who had applied through our process are in that system. And hence the system is now hosting about or having about 1.7 million people in Gauteng. But the system is able to also detect if you are not a resident of Gauteng, we are from another province. Not because there's anything wrong with that, but because we want to avoid duplication. We want to avoid ghost beneficiaries, because good programs like this, they get spoiled by people who are greedy, people who don't have a sense of solidarity, people who don't have integrity and honesty, and then you end up with the scandal that you are paying people who are not in the system. So I thought that's very important. But the second thing I think for me that's important about the system, Minister, is that the system is able to also shortlist and also allocate. That's important because we are often accused of nepotism, corruption, and all that. So what it means is that with the system, there is minimal human interference. I think that's very important because all the 1.7 million people are desperate and are in need of jobs. In Gauteng, there's about just over 3 million people who are unemployed. 500,000 of those are discouraged job seekers and they have lost hope. But if they know that indeed there's only less than 500,000 job opportunities available, not everyone will get it, but they must get comfort that the system is transparent in how it's going to be done. I think that's one of the most important things, the transparency. And that's why, Minister, we have citizens outside who thought that today it's an opportunity to apply and all that. We have said to the team, we will speak to them to explain, because some of them don't need to apply. They are already in the system. So the process that the Premier was explaining, which we are undertaking on the 13 and 14, going to different schools and calling all citizens to come, is for verification so that we have a credible, reliable data. So that's important, so that you don't confuse, because sometimes we deviate from the script because our opponents will accuse us of sorts of things, electioneering and all that. We need to have a credible, reliable data of unemployed people. We have to have their profile. We must know who are they, where are they, and it doesn't mean that we'll create work for all of them. But for us, as you know, that we don't live in circumstances of our own making, by the way. There are things that are beyond us, that the president would have spoken about, other ministers, to fix the economy and all that, without belaboring the point. But we will not know the extent of the problem if we don't have a data that is credible, that is reliable, that has integrity as well. So that's what is important, which I thought I must emphasize. The third issue, we have seen the service providers which are responsible, and these are our partners. But I want to emphasize, DG, sometimes some government programs fail not because government is failing, but because people who are given the responsibility to implement on our behalf, they disappoint us for a number of reasons. And I think this is one program that can't fail. There is no option. And I think we have to be clear to the service providers, and we have to be very firm, DG. And even in your service level agreements, we must not hesitate to blacklist those that are going to derail and fail the program. I think that's what is very important. Because often we are not told that government has made resources available, but some of our service providers, they don't do what is expected of them. This is one program that can be in that category. And then the minister is going to speak to us, as I've said. I'm not scheduled to speak. I was asked to give a message of support. The Premier had already given that message of support. I had said I just wanted to emphasize a few things and make them clear, but to also, in conclusion, emphasize that apart from the resources that have been made available from UIF, there are resources we have made available as the provincial government. There are programs that we are running. And I must emphasize that those resources that have been made available by the provincial government have not been deviated from any program. We have not taken money, for instance, from non-profit making organizations. So there is no such. There are, however, problems with the fact that some of the NPOs are accused of being ghost NGOs. They are accused of double dipping. They are accused of fraud. They are accused of corruption. And the provincial government has taken steps and is taking steps to deal with those. In the process of doing that, there are people who are now creating an impression that we are taking money from NPOs. We are not an irresponsible government. We can't. How do we take money from NPOs that are helping us to deal with GBV, that are helping us to deal with HIV/AIDS, that are helping us to deal with many other social ills? We are not irresponsible. In fact, we are spending nothing less than 2.6 billion for the NPO sector in the province. But all we want is that that money must be managed transparently. There must be accountability, and there must be no corruption. So I thought I must use this opportunity because I know some of the media houses want to create an impression that no, including our opponents, that no, we are deviating money from pro. We are not deviating any money. Monies that are meant for health services, they are being used for that. Monies that are being allocated for housing. That's why we continue to give people houses every day, give them title deeds. Government services are not interrupted in Gauteng. In fact, there is no program that is advertised without the approval of Treasury. That's how prudent and serious we are about good governance. So we are not excited by elections period and all that. No, we know we've got responsibility to govern properly until our term comes to an end. So I wanted to assure all of you that you must not, when you see lots of stories all over, believe all of them. There will be stories because of this program. But today, then that is why the minister is the keynote address. UIF, which is his responsibility, has made these resources available in addition to what we are availing as the provincial government. So without wasting time, the Premier was explaining that the minister was his teacher. When I was the president of the Congress of South African Students, he happened to be the general secretary of the South African Democratic Teachers Union. And because the unions have money and student organizations don't have money, they will fund our programs and help us. One thing that he used to complain about was that these learners and students at the time, every time they booked hotels for them, there's a problem in the bar. So he used to say, the union administrators must make sure that whenever you book for courses, there must be no bar services there, because these are students and all that. So we have learned a lot from him. And there's a story I always tell people. I remember there's a document, I don't know if you remember, GS, The State and the Revolution, a document written by President Thabo Mbeki. And I remember when we came to your office with JJ, and we said, we want this document. And you said, no, this is our nigga makweding. What do I nigi mkwenya? The Honorable Minister of Employment and Labor, Mr. Thulas Nxesi, please come to the podium. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much to the program directors, the DG of Employment and Labor, the DG of the province in Gauteng. Well, I'll recognize the Premier in absentia, Deputy Minister of Employment and Labor. Let me recognize all the MECs from Gauteng. I've seen them. Comrade Nomadu, I thought that there was Tasmin or somebody. Yes. I also thought there was Mzi. Yes. I saw them. Comrade Muragane, thank you very much. And in particular, Comrade Lebogang Maile, because you have been entrusted by the Premier to lead in this particular program. And let me also recognize the officials from the number of the departments nationally and provincially. The DDG for Skills Development in Higher Education. Mr. Mvalo, it's very critical because we're running this program together with higher education and small businesses. They are very important partners. But we will make that announcement on some of the programs later. Let me service providers and the beneficiaries, of course. Ladies and gentlemen, the members of the media were very crucial in carrying the message. I'm happy that we have partnered with the provinces in this collaborative effort to strengthen employment creation and measures to mitigate unemployment in the country. This partnership will contribute to ensuring accountability of service providers and together monitoring the safeguards that this funding will be properly accounted for. On Thursday, we announced this National Unemployment Insurance Fund Labor Activation Program, which is the training for employment and entrepreneurship program. We did that announcement in Tshwane. Today, it's the launch of the Gauteng program. You can see then that Gauteng was resolved on this particular program. And I can see that it has to do with this youth exuberance. You see that energy. They're very clear. When they want it, they are going to do it. And we made that launch. And I want to indicate that on the 16th of April, the official national launch takes place in eThekwini in KZN. And then we will be progressively rolling out during the April month throughout the other provinces countrywide. This UIF-LEF program enhances the employment mandate of the department, and it includes enhancing the employability of the unemployed through training, enabling the entrepreneurship through enterprise development, preserving jobs through the CCMA and Productivity South Africa. And those who do not know, a lot of our people are losing jobs. There's a lot of retrenchments. And then we have to come in through the Section 189, which deals with retrenchments of the Labor Relations Act. We have also Productivity South Africa, which has been helping a number of companies. Those are all the resources which are coming from the UIF, even those used by Productivity South Africa and the CCMA. We are also trying to collaborate across government departments and the entities to massify jobs, skills training, and enterprise creation. I want to applaud you, Gauteng, led by the Premier, Comrade Lebohang. So don't worry, Comrade Lebohang. Others, it's like it's a swear word now when you're talking about comrades. Tinagas is uyegale. So I'm applauding the comrades in Gauteng who are leading government for being the first with a very responsive strategy in dealing with skilling and job creation. And this collaboration to massify the already existing job creation and skills development programs, it's long overdue initiative, led by the President, which has facilitated partnerships with the private sector to stimulate employment. The UIF-LEP have been running since before 2019 and will continue after 2024 elections. The only difference now is that we are massifying the interventions as part of economic recovery post-COVID-19. Most of you know the devastation. We lost 2 million jobs during COVID. And adding to that, you know what the violence which started in KZN did in destroying workplaces. And lots of jobs were lost. So the myth that we're electioneering in the is short-sighted and historically inaccurate. Government continues its work right up to the 28th of May and then hands the baton to the next administration. You see, this thing that it's an electioneering scheme by Ramaphosa and so on, it's nonsense. If I may ask one of you, what is the right time to implement a jobs program? Is there any right time? The issue of unemployment has been a problem for a number of administrations. And then there were interventions. This scheme was started during the time of my predecessor in the last administration. If we had done it Comrade Nomantu, because of petty dispatch, if we'd done it in January, February, March, people would be accusing us of fiscal dumping. They are very quick that they spend billions which they did not spend. Now, planning of government goes with the financial year. And it's multi-year, the planning of government. So, before, during, and after the elections, the program continues. It's as simple as that. Because we are dealing massive unemployment in the country. I'm also happy that your Gauteng database now interfaces with the Employment Services of South Africa database, managed by our Public Employment Programs Directorate, to strengthen the collaboration with your province on registration of the work seekers, registration of more opportunities on the national platforms, and to avoid duplication, as you have said, comrade. Service providers, we have that database where you have to pull in people from that. That's why we created that database. Of course, only substantial economic growth and development will ultimately rescue the country from the huge unemployment challenge. But in the meantime, we also believe that the government, working with all stakeholders, has a major role to play in mitigating unemployment and creating and preserving jobs. We are here, or we are and remain deeply indebted to the private businesses for their willingness to work side by side with government in the enormous task of employment creation across the various sectors and industries. The social contract, which we have been dealing with for the past 2 years, we have decided now that we deal with the different sectors separately. We'll come back later on. One of the key issues which have been put there, led by the President, we're looking at the issue of how to resolve the energy crisis, because a lot of companies have been affected and they've had to retrench. We're also talking about massive infrastructure development, which is all those are going to create jobs. And this program of massifying the public employment programs and skills training is part of that proposal. So it must never ever be taken out of context. So the sectors and the industries that will contribute significantly to the creation of these jobs have been mentioned by the DG. And those are ICT, construction and engineering, manufacturing, education, transport and mining, and a lot of them. By the way, one simple example. If you go into the hairdressing industry, it's full of the foreign nationals. Can't we train our young ladies, our young men to specialize in that area? And then we also give them capital to start and coach them. Why? Those are jobs. Other people coming from outside, they see gold in South Africa. Are we motivating enough our young people to be able to look into those options? This is what NASISPANI is looking for. This is what this national program is trying to do. We have already said that an amount of 23 billion will be allocated to implement this plan. And these opportunities will run between 12 to 36 months. And the money invested in the plan will be recouped by the UIF through contributions and revenue generated from the investment, as has been the substantial model of funding. So once these people are employed, they are also going to pay to the UIF, which means the revenue of the UIF is going to increase. A question was asked to me when an assessment was done that you're taking these billions, investing them through the PIC, and you find an individual company getting about 2 billion, 3 billion. And then next, that company comes back after 2 years and says, I've gone under. And people are hiding the assets. What is better when we are facing this massive unemployment is to give that money to those people, the few people, or is to invest it in job creation schemes? That question was asked to us with the Deputy Minister, because we've also been through the assessment at the presidency by the President himself. Then the thinking came to us that it's better that we take some of this money. And those who are accusing us that we have not followed procedures, they have a right to interrogate the processes we've followed. We didn't just have the 15 billion dropping from the sky. We had to talk to the actuaries. The DG has said how much can be recouped, whilst we are still allowing for the UIF to continue its business. We had to go, even if that 15 billion was, we had to go through the processes of treasury for this money to be approved. So there is a saying that the proof is in the pudding. I'm Nandiji. The proof of the pudding is in the eating. But all what that it says, whatever way you put it, the real value of something can be judged only from the practical experience of the results, not from its appearance. The service providers who were here, the value, the quality of the money which you are going to be given, it's going to be on the results which you are giving. And we are going to be hard in terms of accountability to all. I have to be accountable. These are the monies of the workers. The DG and the commissioner, they have to be accountable. Ubunabe. Ukon. Balegil. The chief director who's running this program, we've been putting a lot of pressure on him. Sleepless nights. There was even a story that I called in the officials and in some hotel when there was a storm, what you call collapsed. Yes, indeed, I did call the officials to come and account why this program was moving slowly. It was as if I made a sin by calling the officials. DM, you remember? We must be accountable to the electorate on how we're handling these monies. We must be accountable. But officials must be accountable in terms of putting these programs. They must execute. So the UIF has proven that it's capable of employing strategic measures, such as the COVID TERS benefits, distributing for that matter 64 billion to 5 million laid-off workers and their families during the pandemic, whilst remaining financially sound. So the spread of our implementation nationally will be across every province with these 333 recommended projects to provide training and so on. And the DG has clarified the 700,000 and the 2 million. We're talking about the multi-year programs. As part of our commitment to strengthening the internal controls, the UIF has subjected these projects to meticulous quality assurance processes to ensure they are compliant with the policy and legislation. There are necessary controls in place. And the Commissioner has explained our mandate, why we're using this money. Some of the people are available to but the money of the workers is being abused. They do not know what they are talking about. So there are necessary controls in place. Welcome back, Comrade Mzi and Comrade Mutara. There is capacity and necessary resources in place, and that these programs produce real outcomes in terms of the jobs and entrepreneurial prospects. By the way, when I'm welcoming back these comrades, we've just spoken with Comrade Lebogang. Many people thought that is the big jobs today. That was postponed. But we've agreed that we're going to address, he's going to address those people and tell them how this is going to be done. We're not going to shy away from them. Before you say there was chaos, people turned in their thousand and this thing. The employability interventions are delivered through contracts with a condition that they guarantee jobs for beneficiaries with the minimum period of employment of 1 year post-intervention. Initially, people were just trained for 3 months, 6 months, and then it ends there. But we added an element where we said there must be attachment, placements into the jobs. That's the difference now. We did it in this administration. So the lab provides a sliding scale of funding support for these programs. 70% of the participants will be contributors, and a maximum of 30 will be non-contributors. So those who cannot, it's 100% lab funding. We have supported the Gauteng Provincial Government Nasispani project and will do more in partnership on the A-Crash Nolova to ensure that we maximize the impact. Collaboration with the provinces will assist in matching of the project's recruitment, funding, build partnerships, and will reduce this duplication, which Comrade Maile talked about. Projects will be broken down into districts and ensure an even spread across Gauteng. We're going to do that in all the provinces in the first instance. A key benefit to us with this approach is the shared responsibility of managing and monitoring projects. Opportunities will be created. Now, we've mentioned a few sectors in Gauteng, but nationally, we've talked on agriculture, on services. We've already mentioned IT, construction, engineering, the services, textile, transport, furniture, manufacturing, education, energy, food and beverage, health and wellness, aviation, insurance, jewelry, hygiene, arts and culture, and the financial sector. Comrade Nomanto, kutheni ukudla ezikolweni kuthendariswa kungatrainwa the young people so that they are able to service. Abanye, they must plow vegetables and sell into the schools. Kutheni siyiresista lento? Comrade Mzi, why are we resisting this? Okay, you'll answer me one day. You know, one of the areas, and Comrade Maile, you must help me there with the Premier. You see this new growing industry now of food deliveries, scooters. What is bad as a Minister of Labor now? There's a lot of exploitation there. People are told that you can just bring your scooter and so on, and then you make the deliveries. If you get an accident or whatever happens, it's your own problem. We've not employed you, we have just contracted you. And part of the problem, it's a lot of the foreign nationals who have not been trained. If you look at the accidents which we get, the way they are driving, it's horrible. How many of our people in the townships can be able to do that? We train them and so on. Part of the problem is some of the employers prefer the foreign nationals, not because they love them, but because they want to exploit them. They want to undermine the labor legislation. They can give them peanuts. We must deal with that issue. A number of factors. That's why we're coming up with the labor migration policy. So we are here to demonstrate without fear our serious commitment to creating employment opportunities for our people and to embed these processes and programs into the future. I want to teach you on the Telang Balendi and Funuitet. I want to address this one to the service providers. We've been asked a question: what safeguards are there that this money will be properly accounted for? That it is not being siphoned off to corruption, that we are getting the value of the money. That question has been asked. And as a starting point, we want to say we instituted a control environment review process across the UIF and the labor activation program, which has assisted us in identifying the gaps and recommended compensation controls enabling a smooth transition towards the implementation. We've talked about this. 2 years ago, we started a diagnostic of the two funds, the UIF and the compensation fund. We used PwC. They did it for 18 months. They came with a thick report. And now we're in the process, we're appointing people who are going to implement. There's a lot of structural change, reorganization and so on, and recruiting the right skills. Remember, this is an insurance. And this is a health insurance. This is like a medical whatever insurance for a number of people. So you need the right skills to run that. You can't just take ordinary administrators. So we need those actuaries, those chartered accountants, those strategic people. We all need them who are running the banks and the insurance companies and even the medical aid. So that's what we're busy with now. But that UDG will announce later on, and the commissioner. But we've started recruiting and put a special project management office under the guidance of the DG, with the right people. The second leg, as I'm trying to answer this question of e-abuse, is the emphasis on the combined assurance model, which includes the management assurance to ensure that the projects are implemented in line with the agreements and service level agreements. Monitoring and evaluation, we will visit projects regularly as part of their work plan to measure implementation, impact, and delivery. Risk management, we will do them quarterly. There will be quarterly visits to the projects to test if there are any emerging risks. Internal audit will include now the labor activation projects audit in their implementation plan with an intention of visiting the projects also quarterly. LAB has an oversight structure which reports to the board, which will also visit the projects quarterly. And the project will form part of the acting DG's strategic projects for monthly reporting. The Auditor General of South Africa will be invited to provide assurance as previously done with COVID. With COVID, we called the AG and they cut us into pieces on the controls. Even here, we're going to do that. And the third leg is the appointment of the independent project management office, which will see to it that service providers are held accountable. There's monitoring of the projects. Contract management is in place to drive timeless delivery of the projects. And there is also going to be an impact assessment of the projects. Omunye phela ngasitshela ukuthi comrade, asizranile nabo abantwana siba trainile, sibuza ukuthi baqhashwe kuphi. Because that's the impact we want. The fourth leg is the introduction of the SAP employability solution, which has been developed, tested, and deployed. This will ensure that the projects are not managed, tracked, and monitored manually, but the process is automated. Finally, is the introduction of the Strategic Project Management Office in the Office of the Acting Director General, which is led by seasoned financial people and administrators who have experience in project management. That's very important. One of the questions I must answer, so that the media must not answer me, must not ask me, is how does this rollout relate to the 5 billion Tuja agreement? They were even saying, are you taking the money from the 5 billion? Stephen Protest asked me that question yesterday morning. I said there's no link. There is no link to the 5 billion on Tuja. The Tuja matter is being considered by the courts, and until such time that there's a decision from the court, no money will be set aside for the Tuja project. And to clarify further, no funds have ever been paid to Tuja. I'm trying to also be smart and use the legal jargon. It's sub judice. And let me close again by emphasizing what Comrade Lebohang Maile raised. That this question of, is this the political gimmick? We've had 5 years to do this, and yet we get this program on the eve of the elections. And what is going to happen after the 29th of May if the ANC does not get the 50%? I said, that's nonsense. As the department, we have always been driving this mission of placing people in employment. In 2019, when I joined the department, one of the first interventions I made was to introduce this training program and say, but it must be reorganized from the previous one. And that process has taken time because we wanted to ensure the process is above board. And the same year I became minister, the target for LEP was 450,000 opportunities. And this project was disturbed by the advent of the COVID-19. Everybody knows that during the COVID-19, everything came to a standstill. How would we run that project during that time? We couldn't. So that COVID-19 shifted focus to preserving jobs in which we spend this 65 billion I talked about to keep the 5 million South Africans employed. So, service providers, we are going to be on you now. There are many of these service providers. We're still going to give them because this issue is very serious. Comrade Deputy Minister and Comrade Mali, thank you very much. Comrade Mrs., that's all I came to say.
Thank you very much, Minister. And I think maybe there is some water that was there in Tembisa to have produced this leadership. Hoi hoi Gauteng. Hoi hoi Gauteng. Igama lamakhosikazi malibongwe. Sicela ke ngoku uDeputy Minister wethu esimthembileyo azokusenzela i-vote of thanks. Uzoyithola kanjani? Uzoyithola kanjani? Uhlele khoneni. Ola, oyoy, Gauteng, oyoy. Program directors, Mama Onke Mjo, the Acting Director General of the Department of Employment and Labor. Allow me to also take this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, to acknowledge the core program director of this very important launch, Ntate Edward Musue, who's the Director General of Gauteng Provincial Government. I'm taking this opportunity, ladies and gentlemen, as I move on with my protocol list, to acknowledge Umphathiswa wethu, the Minister of Employment and Labor. Those who did not know, Utata Umphathiswa Thulas Walter Maid, another name, Walter Maid, not watermelon, Walter Maid. Nxesi, uthole, udlangamandla lo. Utata udlangamandla lo wena ongafanela ukufa uzawubujelwa ndim wena. I want to take this opportunity to really thank and acknowledge our Premier of Nasi Spani Province, the Premier of Gauteng, Ntate Hendrik. Andrek. With the H, with the K, what is important is the K. Andrek. One of the way you pronounce it, Andrek. You see that name, ne? Andrek, utatu panyaza Lusufi. MEC Leboga Maile, our champion for Nasi Spani project. Le project, le yako. Isaac. Oh, Isaac, man. Lo Isaac of ISS, Isaka, ya ungu Isaka. Utatu Isaac Maile, we thank you for your presence. I want to take also this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of all our MECs from Nasi Spani province of Gauteng, Nyabonwa, Kaloku, Mandicho. We see you. And I've heard Umphathiswa wam ethetha ngo-DDG from Education Department. You are acknowledged, Tata, ukuba khona apa. The Commissioner of the UIF, Ntate Moruti wa rona, Ntate Moruti phela, Ntate Moruti Tebogo Maruping. Our service providers who are here that you have all seen before you, including our beneficiaries, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of both Gauteng Provincial Government and the Department of Employment and Labor, it is my honor and privilege to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all of you who have joined us this morning for this media launch of our joint collaboration through the Labor Activation Program of the Unemployment Insurance Fund. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express our sincere thanks to the Minister of Employment and Labor for steering this ship towards its conclusion and its final implementation and conclusion. The Premier of Nasi Spani Province, Tatul Sufi, I want to also, thank you for leading the pack. With your proactiveness, your steadfastness, your passion
to tackle unemployment in Gauteng, especially head on. And I think you are leading by example, and others must actually take the cue from you. To our distinguished guests, our partners of Nasi Spani province of Gauteng, all of you premiers, MECs who are here, all of you, the learners, our service providers present today, our esteemed members of the media who have gathered here to witness this significant occasion, yourselves, members of the media. Your presence here today demonstrates your unwavering support for our efforts in addressing the critical issue of unemployment in our society. We extend, ladies and gentlemen, our deepest appreciation to the Gauteng Provincial Government and the Department of Employment and Labour for their tireless dedication and commitment in pioneering this joint collaboration. It is through this the collective efforts of the Department of Employment and Labour, ladies and gentlemen, and Gauteng Provincial Government that we are able to foster innovative solutions and empower our communities in overcoming the challenges of unemployment. We would also like to express our profound gratitude to the Acting Director General of the Department of Employment and Labour, Mayor Onkemjo, and the UIF Commissioner Ntate Moruti Tebogo Maruping, the Director General of Gauteng Province, Mhlekazi Edward Musue, all individual and stakeholders who have contributed to the success of this labor activation program. Your invaluable insights, expertise, and unwavering support have played a crucial role in shaping this initiative and making it possible. To our beneficiaries who are here and those who are not here, those who have put their faith in this program, ladies and gentlemen, we extend our heartfelt gratitude for your trust and willingness to embrace change. Your courage and determination in seizing the new opportunities will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact in our society. And we remain committed to providing the necessary support to assist you in your journey towards meaningful and sustainable employment. Lastly, but certainly not least, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to acknowledge the media for their inherent role in disseminating information and raising awareness about this collaboration. Your unwavering commitment to informing the public plays a pivotal role in shaping the narrative and highlighting the importance of tackling unemployment head on. We thank you, and you should give yourself a round of applause, media people. Members of the media must give themselves a round of applause for doing the job that they are doing. You know, it's like thanking the fish for swimming. Ne? So now, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we'd like to express our sincere appreciation to each and every one of you who played a part, of big or small, in making this media launch a resounding success it is today. Together, we are embarking on a journey towards a brighter future where employment opportunities are accessible to all and our communities thrive. Indeed, today is better than yesterday, and surely tomorrow will be better than today. And it is at this point, ladies and gentlemen, where I drop the mic. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Deputy Minister of Employment and Labour, Meb Tumelo Moloi, a round of applause to her as well for all of that. I think there may be doubting Thomases in here or out there, that is this thing real? And are there beneficiaries? And I thought just before we leave, that can we ask some of our beneficiaries who have been invited, who are taking advantage of this opportunity to rise, so that we can also acknowledge them. We have beneficiaries in this place. Beneficiaries, look at them, look at them, look at them. These are the people that are, now we are touching Nasi Spani labor activation. These are our beneficiaries. Ladies and gentlemen, we can do a little better by acknowledging these are our young people. These are the ones for today. These are the ones for tomorrow. These are the ones for the future. Congratulations for taking up the opportunity. We encourage every other who is not on ESSA to go on ESSA and apply because an opportunity is coming your way. But not only that, we are encouraging, let us go and become ambassadors and remind those that on the 12th of April, we will be with the ESSA, with Employment and Labor, a big careers fair in Kempton Park, starting in Kempton Park, but ending up in Tembisa with the Minister of Employment and Labor. We remind you that on the 13th and the 14th of April this year, all people of Gauteng, young people of Gauteng who are not on ESSA, we invite you to go and register yourself. Go to the nearest public school in your community. You don't have to catch a taxi. Just go to the nearest public school. Details will be provided. Go get yourself on the ESSA system. Once you are on the ESSA system, you will be getting your name matched with the many opportunities that are being given as the minister has indicated. Ladies and gentlemen, you have been a good crowd. Why don't you give yourself a round of applause for that? And finally, service providers, there's no free meal. You got to sign the pledge. You recited it, and we want you to sign the pledge as by the commissioner. Trevor and Vuyo, are you going to guide in terms of the minister? I know the minister has to do interviews. I'm requesting Vuyo and Trevor to guide. Where are they? So you will guide where the minister would okay. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this brings us to the end of our program. The minister, after doing the interview, the minister will be ushered to where you'll be ushered. You will be ushered to where you will be ushered. Yeah. And everybody else, breakfast is served. I want to thank my colleague, acting DG. I don't like this acting thing, but I like to thank my colleague, DG Onke, for the collaboration that we have dealt with. And on that note, thank you very much. So dinner, not dinner, breakfast. You can see we woke up too early.
In some part of the world, it's dinner.
Or in some part of the world, yes. Thank you, MEC. Yeah. Breakfast is served. Please enjoy. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Oh yeah, we